Welcome to Therapy Unlocked, where we discuss all things therapy from an unlocked perspective. I'm Emily Huffman, and I'm here with Katrina.
Hello, Katrina, Mondragon, licensed professional counselor. All right, so like I said, I am a professional, but not your professional, so nothing we're going to talk about today should be taken as medical, legal, or otherwise advice. This podcast is purely for education and amusement. That is it. That's the disclaimer.
Education, amusement, and because I would like to be famous. So please like, subscribe, follow, engage, hate on us, join the conversation, find us on YouTube, find us on Instagram, find us anywhere where you listen to podcasts, because I love a creeper and I love a hater and I love a lover. So if you like the podcast, if you dislike the podcast, I'd like to hear from you.
Yeah, one of the questions I ask people sometimes is, are you satisfied with how you responded to that? And sometimes they'll say yes. And then I'm like, cool, do that more. Let's keep doing that. And sometimes they'll say no. And I'm like, how would you prefer to respond next time? And that's generally thought-provoking.
That is thought-provoking. And it's a great connection back to how do you stop having empathetic burnout, compassionate exhaustion, however you want to put it. How do you go back to losing all of your fucks, to running out of fucks to give? How do you go back and fix that? How do you find your fucks again so that you can be giving them away as needed, as wanted to? I think that is probably how you find some of those fucks.
Yeah. Ask yourself, was I satisfied with how I responded to that? And if the answer is no, maybe take the time to do that extra exercise. Take the time to yourself to recharge so that you can be there and show up for other people in the way that you prefer.
And that kind of question causes me to think. I love that kind of question. I also love the question, if you were in a history book right now, think of your history books that we read when we were little girls. Okay. I'm tapping into our millennial female audience here with the ribbon in the book, right? We're opening up our history book. Do you like what you're reading? Like, are you happy with that? Is that what you want to be doing right now at this point in time? I feel like almost all times are historical, but this feels like quite the historical period of time. Like, are you happy with what you are doing right now? Those are the kinds of questions that I think give you your compassion back, because everybody else is struggling with that same situation. You know?
Speaking of, well, I don't know that you said anything about it, but did you want to do this?
Oh, do it. Oh, I would love to do Jamie's thing. Let's do Jamie's thing. I love it.
Okay. It goes up to 259.
Okay. All right. So we're picking a page. Okay. Goes up to 259. I'm going to say 114.
114.
I'm feeling
it. Okay. So on 114, it says, I've actually left a lunch with friends when a man there got enraged with his spouse. His rage hurt me. In situations like that, I'm fierce about protecting my energy. So I said to my friends, please excuse me, I'm feeling tired, and politely left. It was awkward, but I chose my well-being over social correctness and sticking it out. An empath patient described his response to arguments to me. I was having dinner at my girlfriend's house. Her family started screaming at one another at the table. I was horrified. She said, oh, this is just how we talk to each other. It's normal. I was exhausted. I didn't know how to cope. Of course, many empaths would feel the same way. We need to recover from angry outbursts. Afterwards, it's important to allow some quiet time to lower the stimulation level and then convey our needs to our loved ones. And there's one last piece on here I want to read. It says, when setting limits with a rageaholic, empaths must know the difference between venting and dumping. There are healthy ways to express anger, such as venting, which an empath can handle, and there are also toxic ways to do so, such as dumping, which can traumatize empaths. And then it goes into more examples and stuff, but that is a great book about how to survive being an empath.
I need to borrow that. That is so much. There was
it's
so
by a
much
doctor
in there.
Dr. Judith Orloff, The Empath Survival Guide.
Dr. Judith Orloff, The Empath's Survival Guide. That's incredible. There was so much in that. Honestly, it almost felt like you had that in two parts. Can you pick it back up again?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was two different paragraphs.
Go back to that very first part.
Where she left lunch because of the rage
there, there. I love how she said that it was awkward and she did it anyway.
I chose my well-being over, and it's in quotes, social correctness and sticking it out. Because
we
fuck
talked about this
society
not
and
too long
societal,
ago.
fuck societal politeness. Do what's best for you.
We talked about this not too long ago when you were at a lunch with a friend. You gave me a call and you were feeling empathetic for the person that I believe wronged you. You were
Right.
sitting and having a meal with your friends, with your cohort, with your people, and they did not like your voice because they were a man and you were speaking. Okay. And they made you feel bad for it and they ruined your meal. Okay.
I apologized. And I didn't need to
And you
apologize in
apologized
hindsight.
to them. You acted with empathy towards them, which I'm sure was a good way to act. And I'm sure that it looked lovely, but it would have been equally valid to have chosen the awkward and said, I did not ask for your input. That would
Or
have been
thank you for
equally
the
awkward.
input. Thank you
Or
for the
thank you for
input.
the input. Thank you. Thanks. Glad to know it caught your attention. Yeah, no, I loved that. I also loved oh man, I tell you, I mentioned live streaming earlier, but there is a phenomenon that happens in live streaming, in public facing, social kind of entertainment, right? Where people will come in and it's one thing to talk about a scenario, to talk about a concept. Some people will come in and they will firmly trauma dump, right? Ooh, that can be really hard. I don't always have the space for it. I don't know how you guys have the space for it on a regular basis. It takes a special personality that I don't have. Okay. To be able to wake up in the morning and go, I'm prepared for everyone's trauma dumps. I hope everybody trauma dumps as hard as possible today. I hope you trauma dump so hard. I don't have that personality. I don't know. Other than, yes, I set boundaries. Boundaries get set. People violate boundaries anyway. They do and they do it. But it can be very hard as an empath. If someone chooses to violate your boundary, but the thing they have shared with you invokes your sympathy, invokes your empathy, well, then you end up losing your boundary. Or at least that's my personal experience.
That can happen. But if you hold the boundary and you feel the guilt and you let yourself feel guilty, but hold the boundary anyway, you'll feel better later for having the self-respect and having held that boundary.
Well, here's my question, because I know you so well and you are so classy. Okay. And I also know that you are not only the queen of boundaries, but you are the queen of providing people with the resources that they need. Okay. Is that just your default and your go-to, or did you have to teach yourself that behavior?
To setting boundaries, I had to learn that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had to learn that behavior.
I feel like you set them and you didn't know what they were called yet. I still think back to
Maybe
somebody
when I was
telling you
younger.
that you were mean and you saying, I am, and then turning around and carrying your conversation out. Hardest boundary ever set in the world. But no, I mean, the fact that your default, I have watched you on the fly on your worst day, and I don't mean that as an insult, on a day when I know you didn't sleep well, or I know that maybe personally your cup is low, but you're there prepared to provide for others. I have seen you on the fly immediately provide sympathy and empathy while firmly putting a boundary down at the same time.
I think that just comes with time and skill. But like when I was a younger clinician, I had answered the phone at like 8:00 at night and talked for an hour when I really ought not have been on the phone at all because it was after hours.
Right. Right. I have seen in my personal experience, both as just a client, just as a citizen, as a person, knowing people that I know, I have seen many a clinical friend, clinician friend, provide some excess support, maybe even to their own detriment. And I'll include in this medical assistants who stay after their shift to sit longer with their patients, maybe nurses that stay for the entirety of the labor, even though their shift has ended, that kind of thing. They are offering up more. When do you feel like it's time for you to offer more?
When you feel like it's time to offer more is when you feel it in your heart, I guess. I don't know that there's a way to explain it in terms of a tangible way to know with a measurable, like rational thing. It's more subjective. You know when you know. Does that make sense?
It's that ennui. It's that zing, as they said in Hotel Transylvania. You feel the zing.
That's all the time we have for today. Thank you for joining Therapy Unlocked as we unlock the mind one conversation at a time, discussing all things therapy from an unlocked perspective. You can find Therapy Unlocked on most major streaming platforms, wherever you enjoy listening to podcasts. We are also present on YouTube and Instagram, and we hope that you will like, follow, subscribe, and join the conversation. We'll see you next week as we continue the dialogue and continue unlocking the mind one conversation at a time. Have a great one.